Let's talk about how to get abs. And before I get too far into this, it is not about doing 100 sit-ups a day. It is not about doing those 20-minute ab routines you see all over YouTube. And it's really not a whole lot about the actual training of the abs itself. And it's more about what I want to talk about inside this video. And for frame of reference, the only way that I have abs is because of what I'm about to talk about, and not that I train them all that often or that hard. And in fact, admittedly, I don't even train them every week or sometimes every month, but that's not the point of this video. The point is I have abs and I know how to get them, and I know how to get them sharper than I currently have them, but I'm bulky. But that's another story for another time. What we're talking about now is how do you get abs? Well, there's a few pieces to the puzzle you need to understand. First off, you have the actual muscle tissue, the rectus abdominis. That's the six-pack, that's the washboard abs that you want to get. It is there already. It is absolutely there already. And this isn't some like woo-woo manifestation thing, like if you believe you have abs, no, they are physically there. But how well they show is dictated by how much body fat you have on the front of your torso. So what we need to do is really get the diet under control. So as far as the diet goes, you need to be in a calorie deficit. And you may have heard this term about 400,000 times, or if it's the first time you've heard of the term, essentially, you burn a certain amount of calories per day just by simply existing, by breathing. If you were to lay in bed all day, every single day, most people are burning somewhere between 1,200 and 1,900 calories a day based on your height, your weight, your age, your gender, and all that kind of stuff, your basal metabolic rate. I've said a lot of words to say you burn calories just simply to exist. And then anything you do across the day, doing chores, like breathing heavier, tapping your leg, working out is a big one, walking, going to work, dancing, singing, doing cartwheels, all the things you may do across the day are going to burn additional calories on top of that BMR or basal metabolic rate. So that total amount of calories across the day, which can vary a lot day to day. Some days you have those crazy busy active days where bringing kids to sports and running around doing errands and all this stuff after a long work day. Trust me, I know those days and how they can go. Well, maybe not the kids to sports yet, but anyway, like you can burn a lot of calories on those days, and then like some random weekend, you don't even leave bed. Like you're just like at home all day doing almost nothing. Maybe you take the trash out. It's gonna be a big difference. But what the point of all this is the amount of calories you burn across the day is called your total daily energy expenditure. I talk about this in almost every single video because it's really important to figure this out and how this all works. But essentially, what you do to get a calorie deficit is you kind of figure out an estimate of what that total daily energy expenditure is, and then you cut calories by like 300 to 500, and now you're in a deficit, which means that deficit is going to be made up by your body burning body fat as fuel to make up for that difference. And that's how we lose body fat. That's how the body fat gets reduced and you start to show more lines in your shoulders, or more abs is where we want to get to. And once you're able to get in that steady deficit on an average across the whole week, you'll be able to make some progress, lose body fat everywhere, and especially the abs in due time. Now, a lot of people get this messed up. They think they have to do certain exercises to show the abs more. And doing ab exercises like a crunch machine or hanging leg raises where you're hanging from like the bar up here and you kick your legs up, those are great for developing the abs and the strength of the abs and the musculature of the abs. But you can do those till you're blue in the face, and it's not going to make a difference if you did not reduce your body fat low enough. But another thing that's messed up for a lot of people is that you can't particularly target body fat loss around the abs to a significant degree. There's like some science showing it's like 0.01% difference, and I made that statistic up right now, but it's a very small difference. It's not gonna make, like if you do it for a year, it's not gonna make a dramatic difference. But you can lose abdominal body fat with losing all the body fat for long enough. So I guess in simpler terms, you just have to diet and be in that calorie deficit, and eventually, which will be different from person to person, eventually the body fat in the abdominal section will get low enough to show those abs. So another thing to consider with abs is there aren't any real particular foods that put body fat on your abs more than anything else. So for example, people talk about beer gut. That's more of an internal bloating kind of thing Not saying I recommend beer, that's just my opinion. But as far as that goes, it's not like donuts put fat on your abs and not on your shoulders and your neck. It doesn't matter. It's the total calorie amount versus your total daily energy expenditure. And if you're eating more than you need, then you're going to put body fat all over the place. The distribution is determined typically by your genetics and hormones and all this other sciencey stuff, but it's not going to make a giant difference. Like, it's just how you tend to store it. So some people tend to store it more in the front of the abs. Some people tend to store it more in the lower back. And that's my case. I could get really, really lean and I still have lower back fat until I get even leaner. Whereas other people, they could get really lean or like moderately lean and have the zero body fat on their back and still have to do some work to show the abs. So there is a few parts in play. But number one thing is that diet. Get that diet down, get lean enough. And an easy way to tell if you're going to be lean enough, for most people, not some, most, is being in the normal BMI range. And a lot of people hate the BMI because it doesn't tell the full story. And I'm not saying that it does, but it gives you a really good idea of about where your weight would be at a low body fat in the case of someone who works out. So if you're working out consistently and you're lean enough, you should be somewhere in that normal range, unless you have really good like big wrist genetics and ankle genetics, which dictate to some degree your arm size and your leg size. But I was getting too far into it. We're talking about abs here. So that's just a good idea to be somewhere in that normal BMI range. And that will be the close point to getting you abs, if not really showing them by that point. As far as the training goes, like I've mentioned a couple times, the types of exercise that I recommend aren't crunches, aren't sit-ups, aren't like the mountain climbers, which actually can be pretty good. I think for most people, a good hanging knee raise or like that rope, I don't know what the heck it's called. You put your elbows on the thing and you can lift your legs up. That really is a good exercise because it hits it in a different way than like a crunch or sit-up would. I'm not very sciencey on the exact reasoning why that is, but it just feels really, really good. And I think it might be partly because like your hip goes behind your center line of your body. Anyway, hanging leg raises, excellent exercise. And the other one, crunch machine, is absolutely good. And the reason why I like the crunch machines with the weight stack is because you can progressively overload. You can add more weight over time. Add reps, add weight, add reps, add weight, and get really strong. And by the time you're at the close to the bottom of the stack, your abs are going to be pretty built if you're doing like moderate to high reps, like somewhere between the 8 and 20 rep range, and really just focusing on the crunch and feeling it work. And anything else, I mean, you can do whatever you want with abs, but those are my two main recommendations for vast majority of people if they just want to show them. As far as functionality, that's a different discussion for a different day. But if you want to see abs, get lean enough, build the abs, and just, don't show them off too much. I already do that too much on this channel. All right, that's all I got for this one. Go check out more videos on my channel, and I will see you inside the next video. Also, leave a comment here if you have further questions. I like doing the Q&A style videos, and I'm also going to have to buy a jacket because this garage is getting cold. Anyway, thanks. Peace.